To feel her up.
Did she say where he tried to feel her up?
On her chest.
Any place else besides on her chest?
No, sir.
Did she say what was her approximate age?
I can't recall that. Wasn't that, I can't recall, sorry.
Okay. Did she mention whether that had been recent or whether that had been in the past when she was a child of tender years? By tender years, I mean 12 and below.
It was definitely in the past. It wasn't anything present. And I wouldn't...
But she didn't attach an age as to how old she was?
No.
Can you recall anything else she said about it?
No, sir.
Now, you said she said he tried to feel her up. Did you inquire or did she say whether or not he was successful in feeling her up?
She said it didn't happen.
Unbelievable stuff. And the question, I think, out there tonight is this someone revealing a deep, dark secret and revealing it in pieces? Or is this the truth, that there was an attempt at a sexual molestation, but it didn't actually happen? There's a lot of ways to interpret this testimony. But remember, the jury hasn't heard it yet. The judge has to decide whether or not to let the jury hear this testimony from Tony Lazzaro. Joining me tonight to talk about all this, my pal, Jane Velez-Mitchell, host of Issues with Jane Velez-Mitchell, coming up at 7 o'clock. She's in our Orlando studio. We've got two of Orlando's best criminal defense attorneys, Zahra Umansky and Bob Fisher, join me. Thank you both for being here as well. Jane, let me go to you first. And the way this just absolutely changes the nature of this trial. It's a murder trial, but it's also a trial about molestation that may have taken place years ago. Does this strike you as someone who's a victim and is revealing little by little what happened to her, part of this deep, dark secret that she had? So she tells the man that she loves at the time, Tony Lazzaro, that this happened, but doesn't reveal the whole truth?
Well, let's remember that this young lady is a pathological liar. I think that's been clearly established thus far in this trial. She's lied to just about every witness who has taken the stand. So why should we believe her when she tells this to her ex-boyfriend when she's lied to this very individual? And also what troubles me is it doesn't dovetail precisely with what Jose Baez claimed in his opening statement. He went into a lot more detail about George's alleged molestation of Casey, and then said basically Lee tried to follow in his dad's footsteps. So it's not a perfect match, and it also doesn't match with what Casey wrote reportedly in jailhouse letters, where she also emphasized the brother and did not emphasize the father. She said, I think my father may have done that to me too when I was a little girl or when I was younger. So I would say that old cliche, the devil is in the details. That's what it's going to come down to. And we don't even know if this explosive testimony is going to be heard by the jurors.
Yeah, should it be heard, Bob? Should this come in, this testimony from Tony Lazzaro, and it corroborates Jose Baez's theory, but we still don't have any evidence of this molestation.
By virtue of his opening statement, it is clear to me that he is going to have to call Casey Anthony as a witness. Judge Perry...
Let me stop you for 1 second, because the folks at home might want to know this. If Casey Anthony gets on the stand and says this happened to her, can they then put Tony Lazzaro up to say, hey, she also told him, to bolster her credibility?
They would be able to do that. They're not going to get the testimony in. The defense will not get the testimony in through another witness because of the hearsay rule of evidence that exists within this state and mostly throughout the jurisprudential system in this country. So they're not going to get it in through him. They've made a valiant effort to do so. Judge Perry has ruled according to the evidence code and has denied them that opportunity. I believe they're going to have to call Casey Anthony as a witness to establish the defense.
All right, let's presume, Zahra, this is a big presumption, that it all comes in. It comes in. Casey testifies to it. Tony Lazzaro corroborates it in part. Maybe they bring in another witness who does. How does that change this whole case in terms of the way this jury is going to view the evidence against Casey Anthony for murder of her daughter.
Well, does it excuse her? Does it help find her not guilty? Does it shift the blame to George? We don't know. I don't think the testimony today was a smoking gun. I don't think that was the thing that, wow, that's great. I mean, even if they get that testimony in, it's not going to...
This doesn't get her any closer to a not guilty.
I don't believe it does. I really don't believe it does. I think that they
all right,
need more.
We got a lot to talk about here. Hey, and if you want to stay on top of all the details, I'm on Twitter now, folks. I'm tweeting from the courthouse. I'm giving you information of what's taking place inside, what's going on outside. I'm taking pictures. It's easy to follow me. Join the thousands of others now. Just go to this address, @VinnyPolitan. It's just my name, that's all it is, @VinnyPolitan. That's simple. I even tweet late at night. You know, something pops in my head, boom, I'm on the Twitter. All right, still ahead tonight on Prime News, an HON exclusive.